Good morning. Welcome to Educators Drinking Coffee. It's been a while. I'm Assistant Principal Juan Castillo. I just wanted to kind of possibly this be one of the last episodes we have of this year, and we'll see in what capacity we come back next year. Anyways, it's been a great time coming in every Thursday morning. Got my mug here. Talking about things education. I am drinking coffee today, this morning. It's like coffee with truffles. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm not too fond of it. Not a whole lot of sugar, so it's not tasting too great today. So, but just needed my morning coffee. Also, just wanted to kind of recap, and also today's Thursday here, and tomorrow is Friday, the 21st, I believe, and we start exams. It's crazy to think we've gotten this far into the year. So all students, make sure you guys are looking at your emails. Miss Lane has sent you all your schedule for exams. I believe tomorrow is begins all. Give me a second here. Tomorrow begins all teacher-made exams. So those of you that have teacher-made exams, you will take those here. Those can be taken here at school or at home. And then we'll begin our math and CTE testing on Monday, the 24th. Biology and work keys and some more CTE on Tuesday. English 2 on the 26th, including some AP. And May 27th, we have some, we're going to have some makeups. So also students do realize that the school calendar has been changed. The 27th is now, I believe, an early release. But please take a look at the district has sent out information on that. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Maybe it's changed for us. There's so much. So we're coming here to the end. Also, students, if you missed your exams from first semester, that's already built into the schedule that you are receiving, or you have received from Ms. Lane. So please keep an eye on that. It is extremely important that you guys do come and attend. Do the best you can. Come and attend. But wow, what a year. We started remote, 100% virtual. Which, thinking about last year, we were hoping that this year we would have started at least some sort of capacity face-to-face, but, it took a while. It took a while to get here. We started remote, then we went to kind of, give me a second. Let me see, trying to see if, then we kind of went to, to kids, you all were coming in like one day a week for first block, then one day for second, one day like that. And that we managed that for a while. And then ultimately, it was decided that we try to come back face to face. And that's been good. That's been good. Then we went back virtual for about a week or so with everything that was going on here in Elizabeth City. And now we're back face to face here to finish out the year. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's to come in the fall. The way things. Good morning, Ms. Schuler. But it's been a crazy year. I mean, think about where we started. We had a presidential election in November, and some of the craziness that kind of came with that. We've had Chief Justice pass away, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Make big headlines. There were protests in Hong Kong, fires in California, which I think there's always fires in California anyway. But I feel for it. I mean, it seems like it's always, we had a bunch of hurricanes to deal with too. I mean, it's if you're a senior, you guys have been everything has been thrown at you this year, but you're coming here to the end and you've made it. So we're super proud of all of you and all the students who have really worked hard this year to to try to be as successful as you can. Now, we do have a group of students, guys. We need to pick it up. You struggled this year. And probably you more than anybody else really need to be back in this building and in your buildings. There's nothing like an education with a teacher face to face. There is conveniences of virtual learning, and it's great, but nothing's ever going to replace that teacher in front of you. So we need to gear up and be ready for August. We have summer school coming middle of June. So hopefully you all have kind of signed up for that. And yeah, I mean, so you can be ready for the start of the next year, which we're super excited. Trying to think of some other things that are happening here. Graduation's coming up. I believe, gosh, I don't want to misquote this, but I believe it's June 4th, I believe, June 4th. If somebody's out there, please correct me. June 4th is graduation for seniors. Look forward to it. We're going to have, the graduation here at school outdoors, which is definitely going to allow for more people to be here and enjoy in the celebration. Next Wednesday, we're going to have, it's going to be like a drive-through kind of senior awards and awards day. So more information to come on that. It's a busy time for us here at school as we try to wrap up the year. And students, guys, you probably have till today to turn in all the stuff that you can to many of your teachers to bring up your grades. So please do so. You've come this far. Some of you are just right there, almost at the finish line. Make sure you finish strong. Remember, for those of you taking exams, exams are worth 20% of your grade. So if you're teetering on that 60 average, you got to make sure you get a 60 on that test to keep that. Don't slack off and get anything under 60, because that's going to affect your overall average and bring you under that 60 that you need to pass. Let's see what else things have happened. I went back to school. I'm going crazy. I'm not getting much sleep over the weekends. I'm trying to think. It's just a lot of things. A lot of teachers have done some great, amazing things. Ms. Schuler, who's graciously said hi this morning with her FFA group and the plant sales and all that kind of stuff, it still continues. Her kids are still going through competition, so we appreciate that. Our DECA, Miss Keita, Mr. Cofield, and the CTE department working hard with their students going to competitions. We appreciate that. It's just, oof. Good morning, Mr. Rosas. Buenos dias. Mr. Rosas, actually, I happened to join. We did kind of like an international, I guess, a cultural exchange kind of with some of his former students back in Colombia and some of his colleagues there. And it was really interesting with some of the students here, speaking with some of the students over there and how school works over there in Colombia. It was really cool. So I think we definitely got to do more of that, Mr. Rosas. And Ms. Reyes, I believe, also did that too. I just happened to be in Mr. Rosas' class when he did that. Got props to Dr. Hill. If some of you don't know, she's got an amazing canvas, which I know all you students have been working on throughout the year, every teacher. But if any teachers out there, go ask Dr. Hill to show you her canvas course. It is top of the line. We got to get her to do some sort of professional development on that. I literally could just jump into that course and do everything the way she has it spelled out. So kudos to Dr. Hill for really working hard, I'm sure, over the last summer to get that Canvas course. And we're going to continue with the Canvas because it's going to help students. Students no longer, you're going to be out of luck if you miss school and say, oh, I missed school, I didn't get a chance to do it, because we're going to continue with the Canvas. And, the information is going to be there. So there's no excuse why you didn't complete something when you weren't in school, whether if it was because of a medical condition, anything like that. Even if you misbehave here and you get sent home, you're going to have the opportunity to still do the work. So I'm very glad. And I think that's one of the best things that has happened here in education over the last year and a half is this online learning platforms. For us, being Canvas. From other districts, they use Google and all that kind of stuff. But I would love to get anybody's thoughts on that. How do you see the use of online learning platforms moving forward? I mean, like I said, I'm just good old assistant principal. I'm not any higher up, but I would gather to think that in the fall we should be looking as close to normal as we have been since then. Oh, here's my special guest.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lee. Thank you for joining me.
No problem. Anytime.
Yeah,
you started your year off with this old bald head. I guess you're going to end the year, right?
Yeah, that was part of my reasoning for calling you. To be part of this. We started this together.
I look a lot different, though.
No, I was asking folks out there and your thoughts. These online learning platforms, and we use Canvas, and how do you see us using that moving forward? Because
actually, it's funny that you say that. I think you can use, because I've been thinking about this, I think Canvas can be used as like a pre-teaching type of thing. If you want your students to read something or go watch a video or something like that, you don't have to worry about doing it in your classroom during your class time. If you got 90 minutes of class, I mean, every minute is valuable sometimes. And, if you're able to get the kids to kind of front load information or front load a video and then give them something to like take notes on or whatever, all they have to do is bring their little note sheet to class, or they just open up their Chromebook or whatever their computer device they have in the classroom with them. Mm-hmm. They can just open it up and say, okay, here are my notes from last night. And you go right into the discussion.
Yeah.
Rather than watching a 5 to 7 minute video and then, okay, this is how we're going to take notes today. Here's the layout, things like that.
No,
I think it can be used for front loading a lot of information.
I think so. And I think one of the other things I was saying is, I think no longer will the excuse be, well, since I wasn't in class, I don't know. That whether it's you take a personal trip, you have a doctor where you have to be out of school for, a couple of days, or you misbehave and you went home.
Right.
You should be able to come back the day you come back and seamlessly rejoin the group and not
That's right. Integrate right back in there. And it's funny that you say that, if you go on a vacation or you do this or do that, no longer do students have to say, oh, I'm going to be gone for a week. Can I have all my information?
Yeah.
When are you leaving? Oh, I'll be leaving tomorrow. So I got 30 minutes to get a week's worth of assignments together for you. And then you could take it with you to Disneyland and leave it in your suitcase.
Yeah.
And not do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I said this earlier on in the year, but I had a student first semester that at the beginning of the school year didn't want to come back to Elizabeth City. So he stayed in Maryland with his sister.
Yeah.
He was up there helping family and things like that. And he logged on every morning.
Yeah.
He did a great job in my class and things like that. And we have another teacher here who had a student on the West Coast.
Wow.
They would get up at 4:00 in the morning to log into the class.
That's awesome. That's good dedication. I mean, like
I said, that was just a couple students. So.
Yeah. But that is the right way to use this system. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we get complacent because we know it's there. Just like you said, you give them the actual work, the kid takes it with them. Oh, I know it's in the suitcase, but I like hearing stories like that because it means kids are understanding the value of this. Nothing's ever going to replace you being in front. But if you can get some of the legwork, I kind of compare this to when I used to coach soccer when I was in Pitt County. We weren't very good. We struggled. We played against other teams, and we got our butts kicked quite a bit and many times. Oh, you got a fan there. I forgot. Let me see. Is it Phoebe Gallup Leary?
Oh yeah. Hey Phoebe.
But I compare this to so with my teams, because my kids didn't have a whole lot of experience playing soccer. I literally had to in practice work on the fundamentals of trapping, passing, where to position yourself. Then you play teams, let's say that are really good. They're not working on that. They're working on actual strategies of, really how to attack, how to defend, best way to attack, certain, if you, in soccer, you have what's called formations, 4-4-2, whatever it is. So you're working on that, and it makes it more fun because you're constantly playing more than. So again, I see this as these platforms is if you can get some of those fundamentals into the preloading, then when you come to class, that's when you can, and as a teacher, you're like, okay, now we can go beyond,
right.
And that's where really I think kids would even enjoy more, but we have to kind of teach them that more on the benefits of preloading a lot of this. So when we get to class, guys, now we have opportunities. I mean, you've been teaching long enough that that probably 20 years ago, we had almost more creativity. It was more available. And I know you and I both are in the art field, but I think about the core teachers or a little bit more freedom to delve into other things than we are now because we're so focused on the assessments at the end of the year, making sure, you know what I mean? So if we can preload some of this.
Right. I can see a lot of that, because back, 20 years or so, we only had, like in art, it's just, you had your hands to create things, physically, where now you can, I had a young lady at the beginning of the year. She did all her work on her computer, her tablet. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that until she came back to school. Yeah. And she wasn't doing that great with my hands-on assignments, oil pastels and stuff like that at home. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me or show me this is what you do?
Yeah.
So I just kind of didn't redo my lessons I just modified them some so she could use her computer tablet. And I had her show me. I'm like, wait a minute. These pictures are really great. Let me show me what you did or show me how you layered them, whatever. And she went through, like a 10-minute tutorial with me. And I was like, all right, well, I guess you're not just grabbing them off the internet and doing it. And, that's how she did it. And her creativity and her work just boom.
Yeah. And using her strengths. I think that's,
yes.
That's awesome.
That's what I tell the kids. And I had another one come in and say, oh, Mr. Lee, he was trying to do the projects and I don't even understand how he was, but he came in and he was like, well, I don't draw or do that way. I'm like, I didn't tell you to do any way at all. If you draw a certain way, all you got to do is just change the medium. You don't have to change the way you're drawing. I said, start back, show me your sketchbook. Boom. Yeah. I said, okay, let's do this. And he did the same thing. It was like, he just said, okay, sometimes the kids online, they don't get I don't know what it is, it's almost like they either try to change to do something or they don't do much at all.
Yeah.
And then when I'm like, hey, look at this, here's 10 examples of the same project and they're 10 completely different things.
Yeah.
Or the project might be, and I do this all the time. Okay. We did a project in painting or in paint. We've done oil pastel paint, color pastel, stuff like that. Well, I don't like paint, Mr. Lee, Well, if you like oil pastel, the next project's in oil pastel, even though I show you all examples of paintings because that's what a lot of my, once we get to paint, that's, a lot of my students that are in class, they're like, okay, that's all they want to use is acrylic paint. So that's all my examples.
Yeah. No, I agree. And and getting them to explore. I think it's more for me, I was probably like that student was, initially is like all, acrylics are probably tempera, in the beginning. And then I got introduced to acrylics. I'm like, oh, these are a little better. You know what I mean? Then oils came in. I'm like, oh, now I got time to work. I don't have to wait before it dries. And then oil pastels, I'm like, this is cool. It's oil in a stick.
Right.
And then my teacher's like, try combining. He goes, now you got to be mindful. You can't put, acrylics over oils. It's going to be a little different, but see what else.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah,
absolutely.
Mixed media was my favorite, and I would go to Home Depot everywhere just to try to figure out. Remember, I was using asphalt one time, liquid asphalt.
Nice.
Part of my paintings, and now, word of advice: don't do it in a small room. Open up and start working. You need ventilation.
Oh.
With asphalt, but I would get on the roof of our house, and that's where I would work with the asphalt.
That's cool, man.
That's pretty cool.
At least you're killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
You're redoing the roof and you're doing some art.
So one of the things, let me ask you, as a teacher, how has all this kind of changed you? I mean, in the last year and a half. I mean,
actually, I can't be. I may not seem it a lot of times. And because of, you think art teachers were weird and crazy. And I am weird and crazy. Don't think about but I am a creature of habit.
Yeah.
I was set in my ways, and that's why I push so hard for students to come into school before school started so I could give them supplies.
Yeah.
I made sketchbooks, cut paper for them, gave them pencils, colored pencils, tempera paint, acrylic paint, oil pastels, all that stuff I gave them. And I kept giving them, you need more, I'll deliver it to your house. I'm delivering stuff to people's houses. Okay. Yeah. Just because they needed it. Okay. Some students were like, oh, I've got my own stuff and things like that. Because when we first started out, or when we were getting ready to come back, not way back in March a year ago, but we were getting ready to come back. I was talking with another art teacher, and they were telling me, oh, I'm thinking about, turning my art class into like an art history class. And, they're going to have worksheets and blah. I was like, what? I said, there's no way I'm going to sit here for 90 minutes a day and teach art history. And here's a photocopy or something. Or if it's online, they've got to, okay, listen to Mr. Lee, watch this video, stuff like that. I am all about hands-on. Nobody picked Art 1, Art 2, Art 3, ceramics for an art history class.
Yeah.
We don't want to sit there and have Mr. Lee describe every little thing in there, what the iconography is and what the meaning behind the glow behind someone's head is and the little child looking up at the mother's face. What does that mean? I sat through that in college, and it was, it has its place.
Yes.
It does, but it doesn't have its place in my art room other than a little tidbit of information and things like that.
I agree.
So I had to, and I also had to learn, okay, well, if you say it's a painting, they may not have paint.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with a drawing, if a pencil drawing, oil pastel, color pencil, if that's what you have, that's what I'll take.
Yeah. No, and that flexibility, I think, if anything, this has taught us is to be flexible.
Yes.
And also to really think about others' perspective. I think sometimes we could be very quick to make a decision. But why? It's so easy. You should have done this. But, so many people have gone through so many things. I mean, we've lost 2 students.
Right.
Obviously, we've lost more than 2 students during this time. I don't want to, call their names. Also, I'm afraid to miss somebody. And students have lost family members during this pandemic. So I can't imagine going through this pandemic and then losing a loved one, and now you're asking me to read about Rococo and
exactly.
That's tough. I appreciate your flexibility, and that's my thing too. Now, thinking about the last year and a half, and I don't keep. I've talked about some of the things. We've gone from completely remote from like 2-3 days, having to go remote to going 1 day a week for one period, back to face, back to virtual about a month ago for about a week, and now back face to face. We had like I said, somewhat of a crazy election, and afterwards, we had a rover land in Mars, show us pictures. I said there was fires in California, but it seems like there's always fires in California. But there's protests in Hong Kong, protests across the U.S. We had a justice pass away, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, very historic. And then again, hurricanes every year. But I try to think of some other things that have happened. Anything that sticks out to you in the last year that you're like, wow, it's just another thing.
Well, I mean, it's just, I'm not sure. I think my emotions sometimes have been dulled to a lot of, like, before it's like, because I'm on this all day long. We're on the computer all day long. And I enjoy going home, and, watching the news and stuff like that. And I find myself pulling away from those type of things. My phone is just used to play music when I'm out in the garage or in the garden or in my backyard, watering my dirt.
Yeah.
But it's just like what you said. So many changes have happened. So much. I think a lot of unrest. That's what keeps pushing into my mind all the unrest that's happening around the world.
Yeah.
I guess it's coming close to you because of all the protests and everything in Colombia.
Yeah.
And all these other countries, and that's the biggest thing. But I guess if you want an omelet, you got to beat up some eggs.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I hope it's one of these things we can look back, 10 years from now and say, wow, that was crazy time. You know what I mean? We're living through history. That's the other thing too. I mean, this is going to go down this last year and a half. But yeah, man, I've enjoyed our year here. It's our 20th year of this school. It's been a crazy time. Also, I talked earlier about, we got exams starting tomorrow. Making sure the kids show up all the way through. And I don't know. I know the calendar was changed and it affected us. I can't recall if it affected students as far as.
I think the only thing that the students, I don't even know. Always thought the 27th was a 3-hour early release from the beginning of the school year. And they just said, oh, it's a 3-hour early release.
That's what confused me. And that's what I mentioned. I said, I
don't know. But that's what it is. Hey, if you didn't know before, kid, you got a 3-hour early release next Thursday.
Yep, without a doubt. All right. Well, let's end this. Like I said, I'm not sure how we will come back next year as far as educators drinking coffee, to what extent. But it's been a pleasure having you on several times. And those of you, Mr. Alsbrook, thank you for logging in this morning. So until next time, let's just put it that way. This is John and Juan, which is the same name, by the way.
It is.
With educators drinking coffee. All right, Mr. Lee, you have a good one.
All right. Hey, if anyone's in the building, teachers or whatever, next Wednesday, our final Waffle Wednesday of the school year.
Yep.
Don't worry, it'll be back next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be doing it on Wednesday.